The following is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of Schumann Printers, not WBEV or Good Karma Brand.
And welcome into Taking Care of Business. I'm Justin the Ninja Wilski here as we continue our partnership with the Beaver Dam Chamber of Commerce to put a spotlight on local manufacturing facilities. For our first segment here, we're going to be talking with Brooke and Mark Schumann with Schumann Printers. And I guess we're going to start off by just asking you guys, who are you at Schumann Printers? What do you do there? Give me a little bit of information about you.
Well, I'm Mark Schumann. I'm the Vice President of Operations and basically the second generation of a family-owned business. And we started in 1963 with my father in the basement of our house. Wow. And grew from that point and moved to basically a two-car garage in town. And then from there, in 1970, we moved to our present location, and that particular space has been added on to 10 times. Wow. And then we ran out of land in that particular area, so we built a second building in Fall River, just about a quarter mile away, and that building has been added on twice. That's about just a little over 200,000 square foot there, and then we have 115 square foot in our original 1970 plant. So overall, it's been a big growth and a big area for the community. We have approximately 180 full-time employees at this time, and just a big business for that community.
Wonderful. Brooke?
Hi, I'm Brooke Schumann, and I'm the marketing manager at Schumann Printers. So I kind of take care of everything related to the brand, and this is why I'm here today, to keep him on track. No.
It's always important to bring somebody along like that. I fully understand. So family business for you as well at this point? Or
Yes,
yeah.
I'm a third, sorry, I should have mentioned this. I'm a third generation Schumann. This is my dad right here.
Okay.
I get to work alongside my uncle and my brother and my cousin, so it's very exciting.
So I guess the first thing I have to ask is we got to address, we'll call it the generational elephant in the room, generational business. You don't see that nearly as much anymore, especially when it comes to things like manufacturing. How does Schumann Printers keep that going?
Well, I think it's because we're such a close-knit group, both family-wise and community-wise. It just kind of shows with the longevity of people that we've had at the plant. Last week, for example, we celebrated 2 people with 40 years and one with 35. Wow. So just long-term employees, and I mean, basically happy because we're just so in tune to the community. Both my younger brother and I both live in Fall River, and then Dan lives in Beaver Dam, so we're both local, and we're both directly involved in the business. Him being the president, me being the vice president, I'm on the floor all the time. And with that, then all the employees have the ability to talk to us at any time, and we think that gives an advantage to our business over some of the others, because we are family owned. There's not a big conglomerate that owns us somewhere else, and because we're able to talk to people, it kind of shortens up some of the things that happen as far as going into production and whatnot. We can make those changes or invest in the company in certain ways. So I think overall it makes the employees feel like they're really a part of the business.
Now, being in the third generation now, did you feel like you had to go to work at Schumann Printers, or were you like, no, this sounds like fun, this is where I want to go?
No, I actually grew up not really having that pressure at all. I felt really lucky. My parents really didn't push me into it. But I think when you grow up in a family business, it's kind of part of your DNA to be a part of it. I know I have really fond memories growing up playing hide and seek and all the paper stacks.
Right. The big rolls, right?
The big rolls,
they're
like towering over, and you can kind of hide in all these little like dark places. And my brother and I used to play hide and seek, and our dad would try to find us when he was turning on the machines on the weekend, and it just kind of becomes part of your DNA. And I went to college. I had some other jobs that I did before this, and I really wanted to come back on my own terms. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, you said went from in the family home to now not just one building but two building. I over 300,000+ square feet of space, multiple renovations and add-ons. How does that happen? How do you go from something that size to something that big? Like, what makes your product good enough to do that?
I think it's kind of the evolution of print as it's gone on. We were traditionally in the basement. We started out and we were doing like church pamphlets, envelopes, little brochures, business cards, that kind of thing. And as we evolved, we started to our second location in town. Then we started doing not only that, but we started doing county maps and things like that. So it grew a little bit, and then after we evolved into our present location, it grew into more catalogs and marketing and publications, that kind of stuff, also calendars, but a lot of stuff in there where it just kind of kept growing with it, and it was certain niches that needed to be filled at that time. So we just kept growing with those niches and moving right along.
I imagine the technology used has changed quite a bit since 1963 as well. Obviously it's not long enough ago. I'm not so naive to think that you guys were still, folding down the old press and spinning the wheel to make it happen. But obviously now, typesetting's changed. Things are digital now. How has that affected the business? Have you found that to be a big change? Has it made it harder?
I think that's what is so fun about print, is that it keeps evolving so much and changing so much with the technology. What you know and learn today, tomorrow is entirely different. Just was out to Portland to take a look at different type of technology for inkjetting on web presses.
Okay.
And taking a look at where that technology is today. Can it do the certain type of work that we would like it to be able to do, the quality that we need? So that area keeps evolving and changing, and we're always in tune to those types of things.
Now, do you guys use like an offset printing process for some things, or do you have different types of processes depending on what you're making?
So we are at our plant. We do have one digital press that's inkjet, and then our other three are all what they call commercial heat set web presses. So they deal with rolls of paper, and we apply the ink out of printing units, and then they go through a dryer, which burns a solvent out of the ink, and go through a chill section to cool it and physically set that ink in its place. And then they go into the folders where it'll fold it down to whatever size piece we're doing, whether we call it a digest, a catalog or magazine size piece, or a tabloid like you're used to in the newspaper type.
Now, being in radio, I hear all the time, like, radio's dying, that's why TV's around. I imagine you guys have heard probably multiple times throughout the course of the business that, well, print is eventually going to die because now there's digital for everything. I can get digital comics if I want. I don't need to go buy the physical stuff. From the marketing standpoint, how do you combat that, and what have you seen marketing-wise? Like, how is the market?
I would say we're extremely busy. This is definitely our busy season. I think there's always kind of ebbs and flows with print sometimes, but I don't see in the future any slowing down for us as a company, and only kind of like what Mark's saying is, print evolves over time and the process evolves and it becomes more efficient, and I think, we just continue to evolve with it as a company.
Now, printing, is this like a 24/7 thing? Do you guys have stuff running all the time? Do you guys just run in like day shifts, second shifts, things like that?
Normally we're running 24/5, so we don't normally work all the weekends, but this time of year it is not unusual for us to work a Saturday or a Sunday, just because there's a lot of added things at the end of the year. There's a lot more advertising for, believe it or not, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Right.
Those types of things. So the traditional work we do, for a couple of local things that we do, like Inspire Magazine, Madison Magazine, Door County, or Wisconsin Dells Traveler Magazine or Visitor catalogs, John Deere, Rydell catalog. Some of these things, they all will have extra advertising And in the publications, they'll have more advertising. People want to spend their budget before the new year if they have anything left. So they all bulk up in number of pages. So that means longer or more runs, more stuff going out to different locations. So a lot more work for us at this time of year. And of course, the stuff that's only yearly, like calendars, all your calendars get printed now to be out in the consumer's hands ahead of time before the year end, or annual reports, that type of stuff.
Makes a lot of sense. I know I think about it, you see a lot of calendars that have like November, December of the prior year, and then all the rest of the next. That makes sense. That does make sense. You said about 180 employees on your staff. How are staffing levels? Are you guys hiring? Are you looking? And what kind of positions do you guys typically employ there at Schumann Printers?
Well, I would say that we're always looking. We're definitely looking to add right now, and we have a lot of positions that not only are entry level but experienced. And that's an area, because of our longevity, we do have in the next 10 years probably 5 to 8 people a year that are going to retire out.
Okay.
So these are positions that are very experienced. So in this time, we're really concentrating on different training programs inside the facility to help, first of all, the people inside to hopefully move into those positions that have present jobs, so they have the ability to move into different departments, become managers, that kind of thing. Or if we don't have the ability to do that in certain sectors, then we'll look to the outside, hiring other people to train them up, or hire other people that have previous experience.
Now, the entire time that you guys have been in business, you've been here in the state of Wisconsin. Is there any particular reason why Schumann Printers hasn't said, let's move to, Iowa, Illinois, Texas, or some other place?
There's a couple reasons. One, we love it here.
That's a great reason.
That helps. But the other reason is that the workforce is very loyal and dedicated. And it's kind of a central place for a lot of the stuff that we send out. So highway-wise, most of our stuff has to go by truck if it gets shipped out. So east, west, north, south, we're very close to a decent hub to get to places that way. So that works out, unless the stuff is going by rail. And even there, it doesn't have to go far to get on the railroad or airplane. There is some stuff that, believe it or not, air freights out, especially to certain shows and things like that. So
that is really awesome. Let's talk a little bit about how people can get a hold of you if they're looking to come over and work at Schumann, or if they just want information about what you guys offer, or if somebody's listening and they're like, actually, I got some stuff I'd like to see if they can print. What's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
Everyone is welcome to come to our main office, which is 701 South Main Street in Fall River, Wisconsin. Definitely stop in. You can grab a job application, and we'd be happy to tell you about our openings. Also, our website, which is www.spiweb.com. We have an employment page there that you can check out and learn more about potential careers at our company. And if you're looking to potentially print with us, definitely go to our website. We have a request a quote form that you can fill out, and we'll get you a quote as soon as possible.
Awesome. Because I like to try and ask at least one unique question in kind of every group if I can. Is there a particular thing you guys print that is something that you're just like, oh, I love that we print this, or this is the coolest thing we print?
I think it's so diverse on what we do. We kind of specialize in a niche that we call short to medium special interest. So it's really hard for me to pick one thing. I have my own hobbies, so I might pick more of the stuff we do for SEMA or PRI. Okay. But I mean, from fishing, hunting, riding lawnmowers, so we do the Skag catalog. So there's just so many things that if you have interest in, there's a great chance that we print it. So it's really hard to pick on one thing. We even do a lot of vacation stuff or cruise ship books. Okay. So as you go to your little cabin, there's generally what we call a perfect bound book in there that tells about all your ports of call. Well, we print those books. So different things. So depending on what you're looking at doing, oh, well, that's my favorite thing while I'm on vacation. This is what I do on my free time. So a lot of variables.
That makes sense. Absolutely.
I always get really excited about the local stuff that we do because you really get to see it in the community and see people reading it. So things like Inspire Magazine here is really great to see. Madison Magazine, I get really excited about those and seeing them in real life.
I imagine that inspires quite a bit of pride in what you guys do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That is wonderful. Well, unfortunately, our time with you guys is already up. It just breezes right by. But I want to thank you guys, Brooke and Mark, for coming in and talking with us today and helping us highlight local manufacturing. I don't think you can get much more local than started here, continues here, and remains here. So that is really awesome. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Not a problem at all. We will be right back in a moment on Taking Care of Business with our next partner, which is going to be Metalcraft of Mayville. Stay tuned, 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.
This is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of Metalcraft, not WBEV or Good Karma Brands.
And welcome back into Taking Care of Business as we continue our spotlight on local manufacturing and manufacturing throughout the Dodge County and surrounding areas. I am now sitting down with Rachel Kind with Metalcraft of Mayville. Rachel, how are you doing today?
Good.
I know a little bit about Metalcraft because I drive past you guys every day coming in from Waupun, and I've seen the facility there. I think I've seen your facility in Mayville as well. You guys are pretty well implanted here in the Dodge County area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we currently have 6 locations in Wisconsin, totaling just over 1,000 employees. Mayville is our corporate headquarters, but our other locations are West Bend, Beaver Dam, Horicon, New Berlin, and Fall River.
All in fairly close proximity to each other. Is that so that the different locations can kind of work together on stuff?
Yes, actually, every location supports each other. So our Fall River, for example, handles a lot of our overflow work. So they help support additional needs that we have through production.
Nice. Now, I want to back up a little bit, and I want to ask you, what is it you do with Metalcraft?
So I have been with Metalcraft just about 6 months now, so I'm very new with the company.
Okay.
But I am part of the HR team at the Mayville location. I've been in HR for over 11 years, but joined the company about 6 months ago. So kind of learning along the way, getting to know the products that we make, the different locations that we have, and growing with the HR team.
So what made you decide, because with HR you can kind of work almost anywhere, right? Because everybody needs HR somewhere. What made you decide Metalcraft?
Well, it's close to home for one. I live outside of Waupun, so driving distance is a big factor.
That is nice.
But when I did my interview, I felt very comfortable with the team there, very welcomed. And even in the 6 months that I've been there, I still feel very welcomed. And I feel like it's a company to grow with. So I love that part of it. I hear that a lot from everybody that works there, that those opportunities do come along to grow with the company. So.
Now, when I hear 1,000 employees, 6 locations, I'm hearing that there's a lot of people management having to happen there, and keep a lot of that in in order, I guess is a good word to put it. How do you keep that many people happy?
Well, that's a big task. But we have some really fun stuff that happens at work that I think helps kind of keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
We have what's called Popcorn Wednesdays. So on Wednesday, we
like
have
that.
popcorn at all locations for everybody through all the shifts. And then we also do every other Thursday, Thank You Thursday lunches. So we bring in outside vendors, caterers, try to change up the menu and provide that for all our employees as well.
I think we've done a brat fry for Thank You Thursday once out at the one here in town.
Yeah,
So
nice.
yeah.
And then along with that, we have, a really nice benefit package that we offer to our employees. Just to give you an example, we have a company-provided free healthcare clinic for employees and their families to get their healthcare needs taken care of. Our insurance premiums are very reasonable. For a single individual, it would cost them less than $70 a month to pay their premiums to have medical, dental, and vision. A family would pay less than $200 a month for premiums for insurance. So very reasonable premiums. We also have scholarship opportunities for children of employees that are high school graduates wanting to continue their education. So.
That is nice. I want to talk about the healthcare clinic thing. I'm hearing about more and more facilities adding something like this on as an employee benefit. Why do you add that on? Why do you make that available?
I think it's a stress reliever. It's a convenience for the employees, not having to panic or worry about having to find out a doctor's in network, out of network. It gives them a specific site that they can go to, call up, make an appointment. The hours that the clinic is open work around our employees' schedules as well. So it's a convenience.
Now let's talk a little bit about, I know you're kind of new there, but I'm sure you know a little bit about what kind of products does Metalcraft make?
Yeah, you bet. I've got some notes.
Good. Yeah, lay it on me. What do we got?
All right. So besides our 6 locations that we have, we actually also have expanded outside of Wisconsin. So we recently have acquired Bluebird Turf, which is in Auburn Hills, Michigan. And then we have Skeg Southwest, which is in Mississippi. And we actually have our very own Skeg racing team, which is really exciting.
Really?
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. So we have 3 drivers representing our Skeg racing team. We have Justin Ashley, who drives the Top Fuel Dragster. Dan Wilkerson and Dave Richards drive the funny cars. So that's something new and exciting. But it also allows us to give that little incentive back to employees as well, because we have sponsored some trips to one of the race events that they've hosted as well. But as far as products go, we make quite a few products. So Mayville, our location, handles all of the stand-behind lawnmowers. West Bend does the walk-behind lawnmowers, and we have a Jackal machine, which is actually a little stand-behind mini skidster.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. There's some neat videos on Facebook and on LinkedIn that you can see it in action. Beaver Dam processes the stand-behind lawnmowers, and we have flatbed trucks that we also make there. Our Fall River, which I've mentioned, handles the variety of overflow products, but they also handle the walk-behind lawnmowers and debris management products. And then a Horcon is our plastics location. So they help with our gas tanks, the consoles, and accessories. And then we also have the New Berlin, which is robotics in our automation division. So they make our brake presses and weld cells. And they also handle our newly released remote control extreme slope mower. Which that thing's pretty amazing too. I've seen it hack down some little trees in the ditch lines.
I'm just putting on remote control slope mower.
Yeah.
I love everything about that so far. Okay.
It's amazing. I would love to have one at my own house. I live in the country, so I have a lot of, outside work to do. But yeah, I watched a few videos on it, and it took care of business.
Now, if this is what I'm picturing, you could just sit there in your lawn with a, glass of your favorite cold iced beverage and just drive it around the yard.
Yep, pretty much. Very simple. It was amazing. I watched a few videos.
Sure, he's sacking a bigger raise. That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
Bluebird. So they manufacture assemble our turf equipment that's used for rental and household lawn care. So that entails like log splitters, seeders, wood chippers, and then the distribution center is the one in Mississippi, the Skeg Southwest. So they distribute our Skeg products through southwestern and south central U.S.
That is really awesome. Now, obviously, when I hear about all these products, these don't sound like necessarily just components to a product. This sounds like full-fledged pieces, full units. Mm-hmm. So I'm imagining positions have to include everything from, welders, assemblers, powder coaters, brake press operators. Yeah. people who know how to wire things and run wiring harnesses, all that. That's a lot of different job responsibilities that are potentially available there.
Yes, definitely. You pretty much have touched on the majority of them. So yes, assembly positions, welding, manual and robotic. We've got the machine operators, press operators. Exactly. You hit it.
I might find out how to do the robotic thing maybe in the part-time because big fan of robots. Let's talk a little bit about expansion. Obviously, you guys have expanded a lot. And maybe it's presumptuous of me to ask, but I imagine you're not stopping here. I imagine, and you don't have to tell me what plans are on the horizon, but it sounds like a lot of your expansion so far has been within Wisconsin. Is there a particular reason for that other than the symbiotic relationship between locations?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think it's just a matter of opportunity. So, there's been some acquisitions through the years. So, they might see the product line that a facility is producing and see how they can incorporate it into, the SCAG equipment. Right. So I think it's opportunity-based more than anything. But I know definitely we are continuing to grow and will continue to grow. Just to give you an example, Metalcraft dates back to 1973 when they were Dorst Metalcraft. And within that first year, they grew 60,000 square feet in Mayville there. And today we're at over 600,000 square feet. So
that's crazy. I mean, I remember the one here in town when it was a Home Depot. And to see it now as a Metalcraft building, that's all I can picture it as now. So that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit, obviously in HR, I'm sure you have to work with hiring. Are you guys looking for people? Are you hiring now? What's your outreach look like?
Yeah, so definitely we do have open positions that we are hiring for at several of our locations. We've got the production positions as well as there are potential office positions as well. But the assembly, welding, machine operators are just a few of the openings that we have right now. And people can visit our site at mtlcraft.com to view any open positions that we have. We also welcome walk-in interviews as well. We have a walk-in Wednesday that we typically host. But yeah, that's where you can find out.
What about outreach at the high school level? Are you guys working with any local area high schools?
We do. So we work with the high schools. We do through the Manufacturing Business Alliance. So we want to improve, obviously, the on-site school programs through donations that we've made throughout the years and continue to do that. But we also partner with the Youth Apprenticeship Program. So that allows those students to explore the manufacturing positions that we have, learn, grow, find if they like it or don't like it, and then stay on with us after graduation and then continue to grow from there.
That is awesome. I have to ask because if I'm going to think about getting a part-time job over there, I got to know, are there any incentives on the products that you guys make for employees?
Yes, we do. We do have an employee rebate program. So employees that do purchase the SCAG products are welcome to take a hit on that and get a little reduced price.
I like it. I like it. Shift-wise, work-wise over there, are you guys a 24/7 pushing out products?
Yes, so we have first, second, third shifts. We do work overtimes, based on need on the weekends. Right. But Monday through Friday is our standard schedule. So, yeah.
That's awesome. We've talked about what product you like. So you've already beat me to the punch on that. Anything that was besides that product that was maybe an eye-opener for you in the time that you've been there?
I guess I would say the other one would be the Jackal. That was pretty neat to see that come out and the different attachments that it has. I like to operate equipment, so I have a little mini excavator at home. So
nice.
To see the Jackal and the little attachments that you can intertwine with it, that was really appealing to me as well.
I've had a lot of fun in my past operating like little bobcats and stuff of the sort, and that just sounds like it's right up my. And what a cool name, the Jackal. Yep. I like it. I like it. Let everybody know again how they can get in touch with Metalcraft if they're interested in any of the opportunities you guys might have available now or in the future.
Visit us at mtlcraft.com or stop into any one of our locations.
Wonderful. And unfortunately, just like that, probably because we talked about cool things like remote control slope mowers, our time is up, unfortunately. But I do want to thank you so much, Rachel, for taking the time to come on and talk with us today. It sounds like maybe you got the short end of the stick. They said, you got to go deal with Ninja. You've only been here for 6 months. But I do appreciate you taking the time to come on, and I'm not going to have to look up that mower because
It's cool.
maybe I need to invest. I'm just saying, make my life a little easier. So thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. We're going to be back with yet another partner when we talk with Amsted Auto on Taking Care of Business on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.
This is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of Amsted Automotive, not WBEV or Good Karma Brands.
And welcome back into Taking Care of Business as we continue yet again our spotlight on local manufacturing. And I have the pleasure of welcoming in Aaron Gill with Amsted Automotive. And Aaron, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't say that I've necessarily heard of you right off the bat, but at the same time, I feel like I have. Is that a weird thing to say? Like, where are you guys located?
So we're located here in Beaver Dam.
Okay, so I've probably driven past you a couple of times and not even realized it. Where in Beaver Dam do we find you?
So we're just off of Industrial Drive, across from Apache Stainless. And so for those that maybe don't know a lot about who we have been, so we started off in 1969 as Advanced Products.
Okay.
And so that's when PJ Seipel and company had built a powdered metal facility. So that's the industry that we're in. And so from 69 till 99, it was Advanced Products. And then in 1999, Burgess Norton had purchased us.
That's why I know it. Okay.
Right. Yep. And so we're still technically under the Burgess Norton name, but from an external branding standpoint to help combine some of our manufacturing practices. Just a couple of years ago, they generated Amsted Automotive, again, just kind of as an external branding.
See, and that's exactly where I know it from is the Burgess Norton, because a few years back we did some video work there.
Yep.
And I got to interview a few of the employees on staff. I got to see some of the processes, and the work you guys do is just a really cool process.
Yes.
And it was actually there that I saw somebody operating a really cool fiber optic laser to mark the parts, which is important in stuff like this. Mm-hmm. And I immediately said, I got to get me one of those. And now I have.
Yeah.
Because it's just that cool. But let's talk a little bit about what you do there first before we get into what you guys make there.
Sure. So again, my name is Aaron Gill. I'm the plant manager at the facility. I've been there, oddly enough, 26 years. Okay. So a majority of my life.
So you probably remember me coming in, even though I don't necessarily remember talking
absolutely.
with you while you were there.
Yep. So I actually started in high school as a youth apprenticeship. So I got work release my junior and senior year. I would go to the facility to work on different manufacturing processes and stuff like that. Upon graduation, I immediately went to UW-Platteville for industrial engineering. So my background is in process and manufacturing engineering. And so I was fortunate enough to be offered a job prior to graduation, which is always great to reduce that stress. And so I was an engineer there for about 10 years, launching different types of products, being responsible for certain capital projects for new equipment and things like that, and then moved over kind of into the more managerial roles. So I oversaw the maintenance department for a while, I moved to an off shift and did a second shift production supervisor role. Moved into then the overall manufacturing manager position. So I was responsible for all 3 shifts that we had. And then moved back into engineering for engineering manager. And now for the last year and a half, I've been the plant manager there.
So you are literally the living, breathing embodiment of starting at an apprentice level, high school, and then just taking it all the way.
All the way, yep.
That is absolutely amazing. The products you guys make there, I remember when I was there and we were talking about the process and what it is. You guys were talking about, these products could be in that truck you see out there on the road right now, driving down the road, and the sense of pride that you have in knowing that if things work right in that vehicle, it's probably because the product we made is working as it's supposed to. Talk about what products you guys do.
Yeah. So so first of all, we're basically a tier 1, tier 2 automotive supplier. So we're not specifically sending product to an OEM's assembly line. We're usually making a component. We're not doing any sub-assemblies. We're producing components, shipping them to our customers, and then they're going to put them into their assemblies and then ship them to the assembly lines. So we do a lot of sprockets and gears and idler shafts. Some of the components that our parts are going into are the transfer case for the Ford Explorer. We have an adjustment nut that goes into the Ford Expedition. And then we have a handful of, call it torque management type of products that go into the mechanical rear locking differential for all of GM's trucks and SUVs.
Now, we have a Ford Explorer here that we use for a station vehicle. So I'm going to thank you now for the fact that it does such a great job. Yep. And it's interesting because when people think about manufacturing, we do have instances like we had Metalcraft obviously just on, where they make the entire product. But then there's also places where they might make a product, but they don't necessarily have the capability to make the parts that they need to make that product. Mm-hmm. And that's where manufacturers like you can step in and you can make that part that they need to assemble something bigger and make something bigger. Yep. That is really cool.
And some of the great things about what we're doing is, we aren't just producing local in the U.S. and shipping in the U.S. I mean, for all the times where you hear that product is coming out of Mexico, but we're shipping into Mexico, right? Where manufacturing is maybe going to China. I mean, we're supplying parts and shipping parts into China as well. India, Europe. So it's neat to not only have that pride in seeing a vehicle go down the road, knowing that you have a part in it, but also then knowing that, hey, we're also shipping parts all over the world as well.
Talk to me about employee numbers. How many people do you guys have over here?
So in Beaver Dam here, we have 95 employees. Amsted Automotive Group has 24 locations all over the globe, and there's about 1,800 employees within the group.
That is a really good number. For the local process that you guys do, I remember when I was there, one of the things that kind of jumped out at me is even though you guys are working with metal and, it's a cool process with the powderization and everything you guys do, the facility was surprisingly fairly clean.
Yep.
How important is that for you guys?
So it's critical for multiple things. One is it's easier to find leaks and things that are maybe wrong with your equipment. We have a 5S culture that we're focused on, keeping things clean, which allows you to be safe. And it helps with improving the overall employee experience. Interesting fact to add is this last August, the facility completed working 1 million hours without a lost time injury.
Oh, wow.
And so we went, basically it's almost 5 years without an injury that resulted in a lost time. And we're about 90 days away from being 2 years recordable free. So again, part of that cleanliness, that culture that we have is to, again, make sure that people are safe, that they can, return home in the same or maybe better condition than when they arrived. And so, that's something that's certainly really important to us.
Now, here in Beaver Dam, you said about 95 employees on hand. Are there positions that you guys are looking to fill? Are you guys looking to hire in general?
Yep, yeah, absolutely. So we have a handful of open column entry positions. There is, call it a route to getting into more skilled work that we have. There's a handful of apprenticeship type programs, whether it would be in the maintenance group or in the tool room. So we have a tool room as well. That we currently have an open tool journeyman position available. So yeah, there's all kinds.
Now, when you say tool room, I'm not picturing necessarily like a place you go to borrow a hammer and a screwdriver, right?
Yeah, correct. No, this is actually producing or furbishing the tools that we use, called compacting tools that we use to make the parts. And so as those run and wear out, they need servicing. So we'll refresh those, and that's what the tool room does.
Okay, that's really kind of cool. I think about tooling. I do a lot of lathe work, and I think about all the different tools and things that go along with that. So I was hoping that's what you meant. That is awesome. Longevity, obviously, you said you've been there for, 26 years? Mm-hmm. What are you guys looking at for turnover? How are things like
it's actually improved quite a bit. I mean, there, usually or traditionally, we had high turnover and a lot of other things workforce wise. That a lot of that noise is kind of subsided, and so I think that has a little bit to do with culture fit and having a good robust training program. I think from some instances the workforce is kind of settling down and people are kind of getting into a groove of finding work that they like doing, and so yeah, instead of sitting here working a ton of overtime because we don't have a full workforce, we're usually kind of picking and choosing one here and there to fill in today. So it's helping.
The process that you guys do, if you could dive just a tiny bit into, because I think it's really interesting. You guys aren't taking like a solid block of steel and grinding it into something. You're actually forming it from powder.
Yep. Yeah, so consider it net shape or near net shape. So if you took what a gear would normally look like and you said, I'm going to make this out of a bar stock, it would take a lot of machining, a lot of expense, and then you have all that waste from the machining of the material. With powdered metal, we basically take a tool set that mimics the geometry of the part that you're making. We have these large presses that basically have metal powder hoppers on them that fill the die up, and then we compress the part and eject it out of the press. And from there, it's basically taken the shape of what the part is. But think of it like a sand castle. If you just compress a bunch of sand, you can drop the part. It would break. It would crack. Mm-hmm. There's nothing physically or chemically holding those iron particles together. So from there, we'll send it through a sintering furnace.
I was going to ask if that was the process.
And so the sintering is 2,080 degrees for 20 minutes is kind of the magic that we look for, and that actually chemically bonds the iron particles together. And then from there, we can send it out for any number of types of secondary operations. It can be machined, it can be milled. We can heat treat it if it needs additional strength. Kind of all based on what the customer's looking for in their print. And then, yeah, we finish it up, package it, and then ship it to wherever it needs to go.
And from what I remember being there, this allows for a pretty good finish right out of the gate, and for some shapes that can be a little bit more complicated sometimes.
Yep.
That is really, really cool. I know we're getting close to our time already, and again, yet another manufacturer that I could talk to for quite a while longer. Tell people how they can find you guys, how they can reach out if they're interested in a career, and just all of that good information.
Yep. So if you're interested in learning more about us, you can go to amstedauto.com. Again, we're located at 201 Industrial Drive here in Beaver Dam. Mm-hmm. One thing to also note is, we are an ESOP company. So Amsted Automotive Group is a part of Amsted Industries. And so Amsted Industries is the 5th largest ESOP company in the U.S. There's over 15,000 employees. The top 4 are grocery store type of companies, and so we would be the largest manufacturing ESOP company out there. So a lot of really great benefits, 10% ESOP match. I'm sorry, 4% ESOP match, 10% ESOP. shares that you get. And so, yeah, there's a ton of great benefits and opportunities out there for people that are interested.
That is wonderful. Well, I do want to thank you, Aaron, for taking the time to come on and talk with me today. I promise I will remember you for next time now. And if nothing else, now that I know the name has changed, I'll know why it seems so darn familiar to me. But I appreciate taking the time to come on and talk to us today.
Thanks, Justin.
Awesome. Thank you. The proceeding has been a paid program. The advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of Schumann Printers, Metalcraft of Mayville, and Amsted Auto, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands.